Perfect. Thank you, Julian. It's a real pleasure being back. And yes, you're absolutely right. It is with great pleasure I can say that we have now got the Verra certification. This is something that I've been asked many, many times. It's something that we have been working on for a very long time, but officially October the 4th this year, we received it, and that is a huge step for the company. We are a global solution to reduce pollution. We are a proud Canadian company. We have very unique technologies exactly for that. So we are a carbon emission reduction technology. We have international growth strategy. Our diversification is in trucking, mining, oil and gas with multiple verticals. We have the proprietary know-how and patents. We believe we are a leader in the hydrogen technology. We've got carbon credit measurements with what we called potential reoccurring revenue, which, as I just stated, we now have. And so this is a huge win for the company. We high barriers to entry. We dominate in the competitor advantage with very compelling value propositions to the users with less than a 1-year payback. And we'll go into all this more, but we also have very strong margins and a very attractive business model. The Verra methodology approved October the 4th. This is now carbon credits possible for the use of hydrogen. This is going to be a major, major win for the company, for our end users, and for our shareholders. So we have patented technology. dynaCERT's developed and commercialized patented proprietary electrolyzers we call the HydraGEN. What it does is it produces measured amounts of hydrogen and oxygen gas from distilled water, delivers this through the air intake to the internal combustion engine. It's important to understand we're not a fuel, we are a catalyst. But with the introduction of hydrogen and oxygen to the internal combustion, it enhances the burn. What it really does is it gives a complete burn to the diesel. So what you're really doing is getting full use out of your fuel. I'm asked many times by engineers, how do you take power and produce power and see a negative or a positive gain? Well, we do that exactly by doing that. I mean, you can go back over 50 years. There is white papers where it has proven time and time again that the introduction of hydrogen to an internal combustion engine enhances the burn. Challenge has always been you've got to have the right mixture. And that's something that we have spent years perfecting. We are fully commercialized, we are fully computerized, where we determine the proper flow rate of gases to do exactly that. And that results in more power, better torque, improved fuel consumption, and significantly less CO2, CO, and NOx. It's important to understand our hydrogen is low pressure. There is never stored hydrogen. This is producing hydrogen on demand. It takes a very small amount of power from the engine's battery or from the alternator, delivers it to the air intake in trucks, mining equipment, generators, reefers, construction equipment, and more. The reduction in particulate matter is massive. You know, the black smoke that you see through trucks, and this is something that always baffled me. Today, in the world of, especially in trucking, they've got all these added features, which are really filtration systems. What they are really doing, you look at the DEF, the DPF, and the EGR. The DPF, the diesel particulate filter, what they're doing is they're gathering the particulate matter so we don't see the black smoke coming out of the tailpipe. But the reality is it's gathered into this big filter, and then the truck runs into what's called a regen. Now, a regen is where truckers are given an opportunity, more like 3 warnings to find a remote area to get off before this regen happens. If you ever see a truck going through a regen, you'd swear this truck was on fire. I've seen 3 of them because they couldn't get in a remote area. They end up in a limp mode. They get off the side of the road. It pours fuel into this filter and burns it back off and just puts it right back in the atmosphere. At the end of the day, what they cannot burn off eventually ends up in a landfill site. So with this current technology that's being used out there in the world today, they're not doing anything for our environment. All they're doing is making everybody feel good that you're not seeing it. I talk about the emissions. I mean, the emissions, and this is something we had tested, certified globally, but the NOx, which is the nitrogen oxide, the most deadly gas produced by a diesel engine, we reduce this up to 88%. Again, it's important to understand this is happening at the source, at the combustion. This is not through filtration. The reduction in CO2, 6 to 19%, 47% up to 47% of the carbon monoxide, up to 57% of the hydrocarbons, and 55% of the particulate matter. Also, the economic benefits, improvement in fuel economy, 6 to 19%. I always typically tell people, we average 10%. Now, the reality is, I know there's companies out there say, oh, we get 20, 30%. There is times in certain conditions where we do get 20, 30%. And there's times where we get 4 or 5%. But on an average, say 10% improved fuel economy. The reduction in diesel exhaust fluid, up to 51%. Now, the diesel exhaust fluid is a DEF. That is fluid that is added. That's an added thing that they put into trucks, which reduces the NOx. But because of the reduction in NOx rate at the combustion, now there's at least up to 51% less being used. The DPF, the diesel particulate filter, lasts on an average 33% longer because it's not gathering that black smoke or that particulate matter. The estimated reduction of oil changes up to 25%. And this is important to understand also. With our technology, we've had this thing tested by Detroit Diesel. They did a test back a few years back where they ran 2 trucks, one with our technology on, one without. Ran them the same course, the same time, same typical oil change, and brought them in for an oil change. The truck without our unit on had 8% soot content. They said that's typical, that's normal, but it's the soot that breaks down the oil and starts wearing out an engine. With our technology on it, came back less than 1% soot content, showing and verifying how much cleaner things are actually working. Again, like I said, we've gone through all kinds of independent validations, UOIT, here in Canada, PIT Group. The PIT Group is considered the gold standards here in Canada in the trucking industry. Continental Emitech, we went through that. We went through extensive testing in Europe, ICAT in India, independent testimonials, TÜV North and TÜV South for the ABE or the homologation in Europe. It was interesting. So they actually used Continental Emitech to do the testing. They actually had to test this thing 4 times. First of all, they put a unit on a truck. They put it out. They ran it all through the Black Hills in Europe and Germany, brought it back, put it on a dyno, tested it. They said there's something wrong. They showed all these improvements. They couldn't believe it. They were baffled. They ended up having to test it 4 separate times before they actually accepted the fact that these improvements were happening. We've also got what we now call the Hydrolytica. This is our software, which does the measurements in real time. And this is important to understand. This is done second by second in real time. Our computer interfaces with the computer of an engine and measures the fuel economy, the improvement in the reduction in emissions, and it is all hard data. This is data that is not, there's no human intervention. And this is where, when we worked through the carbon credit process, and this was, there was an independent audit done by a company, one of the largest companies in the world that did this, and they came back and said that once we achieve the carbon credits, this will be deemed a premium carbon credit. And it is because it is 100% data driven. There's no guesswork involved. It's not a fact of, well, we may be reducing this, or, you look at the forestry industry, maybe a tree is going to grow and things like that. I mean, this is 100% data driven. This shows our product line, our current product line. We have, first of all, the HG1 series. That was our flagship product that was designed for Class 8 trucks, 10 to 15 liter engines. Then we were asked, could we build a smaller unit for reefers, refrigerated containers, all these containers that have these small diesel generators running 24/7 to keep everything cool. So we built the HG2 series. Then we went into the mining industry with the 4Cs and 6Es, and this has really became a very strong product for dynaCERT and for the end users. We have these in the mining industry around the world now. We've also, these larger units have now been widely accepted in the oil and gas fields because they run large power generators running the drilling rigs and things like that, where they are utilizing this technology. Again, this just shows you the HG1s, a little bit of the information on it. Our HG2 suitable for 1 to 8 liter diesel engines. Here, this just shows a truck, a Class 8 truck with our unit on it. Again, here, now these one on the left-hand side, this is a large grocer chain in Mexico that carries extremely heavy loads. So they chose to go with 2 of our HG2s to give them a little more hydrogen production than what the HG1 does. They have now, first of all, they had ran these 3 units, ran tests. They came back, they placed the second order. Now they came back and placed the third order. And I think that's one of the probably the most exciting things to me is the orders that we're receiving, the orders that we've been announcing recently, and the orders that we are now putting together for customers are repeat orders. These are companies that have ran pilot projects. They've proven the technology. They have tested it themselves. They came back and said, we need more. On the right-hand side, this is where they've actually got 2 HG1s. That was a mid-size drilling rig of Western Canada in the oil fields. Again, you can see here underneath the dump truck, in the back of bulldozers. So we've got very large applications now in the construction application, transport application, again, on the Class 8 trucks. I talked about the mining industry. So this shows you actual results in the mining industry. And this is done H2 Tech. H2 Tech is one of our dealers. They work strictly in the mining industry. That is all they do. That's been their ultimate focus, is selling our technology in the mining industry. You can see, on these large Komatsus, 11.8% fuel economy. On the large Cat, 11%. The dynamometer, this was the 14-liter MAN truck that they tested with Emitech in Europe. For the homologation, they showed 8.9% the improved fuel economy on a dyno working at its prime, at its best operations. They actually did it. They ran it, like I said, they ran it on the road. They received up to 20% and as low as 5%, but on average, 8.9%. Highway transport trucks here in North America, 12.6%. And then the big Cat 797 was 13.4%. Again, the power generation in Western Canada, now we are seeing a lot of acceptance in the oil fields. We've also got one of the largest mines out in Boise Bay that runs in a very remote area where they've got a massive power generator where they have 4 of our large HG4 units operating on that. Greener mining, this is, again, this is where they are seeing the acceptance, because of the improved fuel economy, but more importantly to them is the reduction in the emissions, especially when you look at the open pit mining and things like that. The air quality was so poor, and now they've been able to make a huge difference. Also, with the reduction in the carbon footprint, this is now ESG. They're reporting. We've got ESG reporting where we've got major mining companies utilizing this for their ESG reporting, major oil and gas drilling companies doing the same thing, and the trucking industries. Again, this is just our largest unit, the 6C. And like I said, these can be paired together, or put together in series, depending on the size of the engine. One is designed for 6 to 90 liter engine. It's interesting, we've actually got one of the large OEMs here in North America now that are talking to us. They want this for their power generators. Again, so this is, you look here, this is one of these large open pit mining trucks. You can see the yellow box up on top. That is our largest unit. It is the size of a small deep freeze, but on these trucks, they're very small. Our target markets. Currently, we're in buses, refrigerated trailers, small trucks. I say small trucks. I'm talking like a mid-sized delivery truck, Class 8 trucks, power generation, farming, construction, mining, oil and drilling rigs. We've also initiated just recently small to mid-sized marine vessels and locomotives. This is something that is very near to my heart, but really the future passenger vehicles, we've got some companies in Europe because they love their diesel cars. They're asking if we can do smaller ones. But really the biggest one and the one that excites me the most is these large ocean-going vessels. I don't know how many people really realize, we talk about, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking electric cars, but we talk about EV, and the government had been such a big focus. We got to go EV, we got to do this, we got to do that to change the environment. The biggest threat to our environment right now in engines is these large ocean-going vessels or container ships. Do you realize you take one container ship, puts out the equivalent of 50 million cars per year in pollution? If you take 17 container ships, that's equivalent to all the vehicles on the roads today. And do we really think that we're making a difference with electric cars? But these ocean-going vessels, this is our target market. This is something that we're very excited. This is something we're moving towards. And I think that we can make a huge impact. This again just shows you some pictures of the diverse applications that we've got within the mining industry, the trucking and everything. Value to the end proposition or to the end user. This shows just based on fuel savings, here in North America at 10% fuel savings, where the return on our investment is 7 months. And I'm going to try and just move things a little quicker because I know that we're short on time. But we look at the overall market size. The market size is massive. We are now just starting to touch on this. I think we are just now starting to hit that tipping point. It's interesting, the world acceptance that we're starting to see. As a matter of fact, right now here in our boardroom, we've got a full delegation from Vietnam just came in to meet with us. They are there with 12 of their most important people looking at this. They've actually got a media blitz going on, and they are excited about this. We also had Business Edge just did a full article on us, a feature story on us. We've just got a major mining company that's doing a feature story on us. It is now, the world is waking up to the fact that there is a technology out there right now that can make a difference. Currently, we've got over 48 dealers. Actually, now we're just over 50 qualified dealers in worldwide. We're serving 55 countries of the world. Currently, we are a Canadian company. We've got our office and manufacturing here in Canada, but we do have dynaCERT GmbH office and distribution center in Europe. We are in talks in both India and Mexico for potentially increasing manufacturing through joint ventures as things move. But the Hydrolytica, this is something that we're very, very proud of too. This is our software, which it interfaces, like I said, with the engine's computer, where it shows everything in real time. And the end users can download a dashboard on their phone and in their office where they can monitor everything. We're not a new company. We've been over 20 years, spent over $100 million in expenditures to develop and commercialize our product. We've currently got assembly plant here in Toronto, which we upgraded over the last year and a half. We've currently got this upgraded facility where it is a semi-automated manufacturing or assembly plant. We have the capacity of putting out 6,000 units a month here in Canada. Like I said, we do believe that at some point in the future, we're going to enter into joint ventures in other parts of the world, because it does not make sense as the market grows that we're just trying to manufacture and ship around the world here from Canada. We've got a very strong dealer network, multiple target markets with our dealers, multiple product versions, and we're always continuously doing research and development to maintain market and product leadership. It's interesting. This is something that I like to do a quick comparison. I was in Kentucky probably 10 or 11 years ago when the first skirts were launched. It may be even 12 years ago, but at that point, it was interesting. All these trucking companies walked around and said, there is no effing way we will ever have these things on our trailers. Today, you're hard pressed to find a trailer in North America anywhere without them, and around the world at an average cost of $3,000 to improve their fuel economy on an average of 1%. So if you look at that and then compare that to our cost to the end user, $10,000 all in installed, where they're improving the fuel economy on an average 10%, that's a 3 times better proposition. Now, when we add in the carbon credits, it just grows exponentially. Carbon credits, I know I've talked about this a bit, but this is something that most everybody knows. This is something we've worked at a very long time. I think for a period of time, we had shareholders really questioning, is this real? Is it ever going to happen? And believe me, this was the most painful thing we've ever gone through. We went with Verra. Verra is the toughest in the world to get, but it is the most widely recognized in the world. We've had conversations now with large companies that buy carbon credits and buy carbon credit futures. They've made it very clear the only thing that they would buy is a Verra approved carbon credit. So I strongly believe that we went the right route, and I think this is going to be a huge benefit for us and for the end user. This is the razor blade. This will create a reoccurring revenue stream, because the way it's designed, 50% of the carbon credits will be maintained by dynaCERT, 50% of the carbon credits go to the end user, where it's a win-win situation. Strong shareholders. We have, over 6,000 retail shareholders. Management and insiders hold 31%, institutions 5%. Eric Sprott, one of the most brilliant investors here in Canada, holds over 6%. And the reason he has bought and believed in this company was strictly concerning the carbon credits. I can remember back when I had the conversation with him, he said, Jim, I am buying this because I believe in carbon credits. I believe there is not a better company positioned for carbon credits than dynaCERT. And I am thrilled to say that he is now going to see that reward. We've got high barriers to entry. We've got worldwide patents. We've currently got over 27 families of patents worldwide. Technological advantages, very robust product. You look at our product today, I mean, yes, our product, we had flaws in it. I would dare say in the last 2 years, we have a product that now is out there. It's bulletproof. It's a bolt-on unit with no challenges. The last thing I want to say is the other thing that dynaCERT did do. I've always been a very, very strong believer in hydrogen and the hydrogen economy. I believe that our current technology is a bridge to the hydrogen economy. I believe it's a very large bridge, a very long bridge. But while we're crossing that bridge, we have invested in a company called Cypher Neutron. We've currently acquired 15% of it. We can buy up to 20% fully diluted, positioning ourselves for the hydrogen economy for the long term. This is AEM technology, the most advanced technology in the world, and for high pressure, high volume, pure green hydrogen. And I do believe that this is a real win for the company, for the longevity of the company. Lastly, I just want to say that the other thing we have done very recently, we've brought on a new president. I was the CEO and president of the company. We've now brought on a new president from Europe. This man is so widely known and recognized in the diesel world. He's been a leader in the diesel world for the last 25 years. And with him joining us, I mean, this is going to be a huge step forward for the company. I am, believing that, over the next year and a half, I will work closely with him and his team, and eventually I will step back. He will take over the role as the CEO of the company, and I will stay on as chairman of the board. I am, between myself, my wife, and my family, we are certainly, one of the largest, if not the largest shareholder of this company. I believe in it 100%, and I am fully committed. Julian, I know we're just about out of time, so I will stop there.
Yes, absolutely, Jim. So thank you very much for the presentation. It's 57. So first off, that's quite something. Looking at in the future and not having you presenting and someone else, that's gonna give a little hurt. That being said, how was the outcome of the IAA transportation in September 2024? Any comments on that?
Yes, it was very, very successful. I was not there, but Bert Kruper, our new president, was there. He had multiple meetings along with others there with all the major OEMs. That was really the biggest focus, and it has been very successful, and it is opening doors very quickly.
Perfect. I will regroup some questions together. Now that the Verra certification is complete, will we be seeing new cells? I can get your answer on. I can guess your answer on that. But also, you already say that once that certification would come in, there would be major player stepping in. Can you comment on that?
Absolutely. Do I think that this is going to be a huge step forward for the company? Without a shadow of doubt. Do we have major companies that have been waiting for that? Absolutely. We're in talks with them now that this has been completed. I do believe that this is a win-win-win for the company, for end users, for large companies, there's a lot of large companies that need this for their ESG reporting. They want it for the carbon credits, but really they want it more importantly for their bragging rights and for their ESG reporting.
Perfect. Regarding ESG Scope 3 studies, you will be able, obviously, to provide now those numbers in for sure for companies, and this is extremely important. Do you have any guidance on year end?
Do I have any guidance on year end? The guidance I would give, and I am always very cautious on guidance, but keep a close eye on this company. This company is now positioned for exponential growth. I do believe that you're going to see major changes and major growth. I also believe with new management coming on, it is opening a lot of doors, and there will be continuous changes and growth within that also.
Perfect. Well, this is all the time we had. So, Jim, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for presenting once again. One thing is sure, it is a lot more easy to present with great news like that than telling everyone, I do not know, we're waiting. So congrats on that. Enjoy the current success of that part of the company, and hopefully you can build on it, and you will have great updates at the next presentation.
Great. Thank you very much.